boy, it's dumb shit o'clock, which means it's time once again to provide some realistic and unbiased commentary on the games industry, or at the very least, some spirited shit talking. I'm Shanghai Pete, of course, your humble host, 21st century digital boy, stunning brave culture critic, and your good buddy in the mix. It's been a boring week in our beloved and reviled industry, and honestly, I'm not too super upset about that. Most people's courses have been set, everyone knows which systems they're buying, and Sony and Microsoft seem content to just sort of coast to their system's release date. And I mean, what else are we gonna do other than sit here waiting for Cyberpunk 2077? Probably not much. So how are y'all feeling about this? Did they do anything to get you guys to care about their new systems? Have you seen any games that actually look next gen or look like they should have required a whole new system and $500 to play? Yeah, y'all know what I think. Fuck no. So with that in mind, what should we talk about today? Maybe about EA busting out their tried and true copy pasta formula for the newest FIFA game. Yeah, big surprise there. Or what about the PS5's unfathomably lazy and anti-consumer backwards compatibility? I'm so shocked that Sony dropped the ball there. Again, for the third time in a row now? It's 20 shit fuck 20. Why in God's name can I still not put a PS1, 2, 3, or 4 disc into a PS5 and play it? Microsoft seems to have this figured out. Why can't you, Sony? Okay, so if we're not going to talk about that, what about, I don't know, Amazon's fucking stupid game Crucible being canceled? Because just so many people gave a shit about that game, right? Or maybe we should point out all the so-called independent content creators totally not suspiciously offering glowing reviews of all the new consoles that they were gifted for free. Yep, nothing says honest and unbiased hardware review like people whose careers rely on their continued access to free products telling you that even though they didn't, you should definitely spend your money on them, right? Certainly going to put a lot of stake in what those guys have to say. Yes, I know the salt is strong with me today, but I recently had to go back to work after a long vacation, and well, I'm in a bad mood. Anyway, our main story tonight is unfortunately continued coverage of the fuckfest known as the next-gen console wars. Looks like specs for a few upcoming next-gen games running on the Xbox Series S are out, and surprise, surprise, oh shock of shocks, it's terrible. In Yakuza Like a Dragon, if you want to get 60 FPS in it, you'll need to run it at a quality below HD. This fucking thing can't even do 60 FPS at 1080p. Holy shit. I told you so. People were trying to defend the Series S by saying that the games may not look as good, but it's still a cheap way to play next-gen games. You know what else is an even cheaper way to play next-gen games? The PS4 and Xbox you already have that all those so-called next-generation games are also being released for. It's stunning that anyone tries to defend this idiocy. The Series S is nothing but an avatar for the Xbox brand, intended to sit in your living room and do nothing more than remind you the Xbox brand exists. It's not a serious next-gen console. It's barely even a serious console at all. And if this doesn't prove that, well, I don't know what will. We've already done more than enough deep dives into both the Series X and S, as well as Microsoft's next-gen strategy overall, so no real need to get into all that again. Nevertheless, it's really kind of amazing how silly this whole thing looks though, right? To watch Sony and Microsoft go back and forth still after all these years, trying to cannibalize customers from the same market and demographic by using what amounts to identical looking bait. Not only can you not tell a difference between a game running on the X or the PS5, I would challenge anyone to tell the difference between even the PS4 and a PS5. You guys look ridiculous. Let's be honest, the only distinctions between these companies' products are minor cosmetic minutia like UI implementation and how round the fucking controller is. And, alright, yes, I know there's slight practical differences in other things like online services and the like, but let's face it, that's no one's primary concern. Well, maybe it's someone's, but you know what I mean. We all know that this absolutely absurd war of attrition has historically been and continues to be predicated on one thing and one thing alone: graphics. How good does it look? Anyone with any sense could have guessed long ago that there was always going to be a point where the pace of console generation cycles would catch up to the rate of advancements in graphics technology. And at that point, it would be almost impossible to make a case for one system over the other using those criteria. That's why Microsoft, albeit a little too late in my opinion, has started shifting the focus to their other non-hardware dependent services. Sony, it seems, still has yet to get the memo, which leaves humble little Nintendo as the only ones who don't look completely fucking retarded right now. And why is that, you may think? Well, because they started their little pivot into a new market all the way back in 2006 with the Wii. Now, of course, there's no way to know the specific motivations behind Nintendo's drastic market shift, but we can all guess. At first, being a lifelong Nintendo fanboy, I was hyped as fuck for the Wii, so were all my friends. Then, of course, we got to play it. After the true horror of the waggle controls became apparent, the Wii quickly became nothing more than an emulator box for me. But it didn't matter. After passing 100 million in lifetime sales, its eventual fate as a grandma box was irrelevant. It may not have been a perfect first attempt, but Nintendo had proved that a shift away from more graphics and more polygons could definitely work. It may not have been a super popular move at the time, and you can count me as one of the people who definitely cried about how I wish Nintendo would just make a normal console, but I think we can all agree that they were clearly right. Sure, if you were older than 15 or maybe younger than 60, you probably forgot about the Wii real quick. And aside from like 6 games, the Wii U is a complete waste of everyone's time. But I don't think there can be any argument that Nintendo finally did nail it with the Switch. Yeah, kind of forgot all about the Switch, huh? While Sony and Microsoft have been debasing themselves in increasingly desperate attempts to get your money for functionally identical hunks of plastic, Nintendo has been quietly selling over 60 million Switches while demand for it has only gone up. You don't see them dumping trucks full of cash into some idiotic hardware contest that no one ever really wins, do you? Nah, they just continue to put out games, stack bands from system sales, and casually bide their time until they want to release a follow-up hardware revision. And they have zero competition. Zero. Rumors are that the next Switch will use Nvidia's newest Tegra chip, which is about as powerful as a base PS4. And so far, every game announced for the PS5 is also being released on the PS4. So where does that leave the likes of Sony if Nintendo's next Switch will be able to run ports of what are essentially PS5 games? Yeah, fighting a battle of whose graphics look better seems pretty fucking stupid now, huh? Besides, the answer to that question will always be PC, regardless of whatever Sony and Microsoft are doing. That's right, as I've always said, the console wars have long been an exercise in protracted futility, and now it's worse than ever, and the only one who is going to come out on top is Nintendo. It's like an argument on the internet. The only way to win is to not participate in the first place. Alright, that's our show for today. I apologize, it's a little short, but I'd rather get something out to you guys at least once a week instead of taking multiple weeks to put together some 30-minute long essay that I doubt even holds most people's attention. As always, though, thank you for chilling with us tonight and spending this little bit of your free time here. We love you today. We love you all the way. Don't forget to downvote this video, comment below letting us know which next-gen exclusive you're most excited for. That's a trick question, there aren't any. And as always, avoid subscribing to this toxic and hateful channel because it's always better to dumb down.